Vegeta seemed absolutely flabbergasted, as if someone had turned his reality upside down. True, he could expect some opposition from the likes of Kakarot after all those Earthlings managed to somehow stop Raditz, and his minion, he was rather expendable. He himself could have destroyed him without much problem, but this 200 power level thing with wings destroying his partner in crime in such a simple way was incredibly infuriating.
Oh, you are a dead-horned freak, and not because I care about that idiot there.
He appeared right before Spike's face.
No one is going to threaten the Prince of all Saiyans!
And before the Devilman could so much as dodge, Vegeta caught his throat, which immobilized him.
You know, your first fatal error was using this trick of yours on a weaker opponent.
It's called Spike started regretting his stellar performance in this fight. It struck a nerve with the prince. But before he could finish him off, a shout could be heard.
Special Beam Cannon!
Yelled Piccolo, and with that, a beam pierced Vegeta's arm, cutting out the shoulder of his armor. The Saiyan screamed loudly, letting Spike go.
You will pay for that, Namekian!
The prince snarled like a wild beast and started attacking Piccolo with tenacious tenacity. Meanwhile, the humans decided to check on the devil, who was massaging his throat. He could not utter a word, and he attempted to catch his breath. He seemed like someone who really could do with a senzu bean right now. Meanwhile, Vegeta was offloading all of his frustrations on the son of the Demon King, who was making a brave but ultimately futile effort. As he wanted to deal a fatal final blow, a child-sized projectile hit him in the back.
You leave Mr. Piccolo alone, you monster!
It was Gohan in a fit of fury. That surprised everyone, even his mentor.
Is that Kakarot's brat?
Vegeta hissed, his anger being replaced with curiosity.
You care for that green freak, do you? Well, that was almost impressive. I could use a new lackey after my current ones bit the dust when they were, destroyed.
Gohan didn't want to listen and attacked Vegeta's face. Sadly, he was prepared this time, and it didn't do as much damage as Gohan had hoped. Anger turned into fear as the prince caught him by the tail.
Or not, if you choose stupidity. I'll gladly make you regret your life choices, child.
Gohan went completely limp when his tail got caught, which immediately made Yamcha and Krillin realize that they had seen this happen before. Spike wanted to use that opportunity to charge his beam at the Saiyan, but only a gargle came out of his throat, not words. Krillin decided to give him some senzu, but at this point, the situation had shifted somewhat. As Vegeta was ready to hit Gohan, Piccolo managed to wrestle out the kid from his grasp and take a piercing punch for the boy. In the midst of the whole scuffle, the tail of the boy remained in the prince's hands, while the rest was taken back by the Green Warrior, separating the boy from part of his Saiyan heritage. The Namekian then thought to himself that maybe it would be better this way, that tail no longer belonged to Gohan.
Gohan, run. You are my only friend.
Said the son of the Demon King as blood spluttered out of his mouth. The boy started screaming and attempted one desperate charge that managed to wound Vegeta, albeit slightly. He tried to then retaliate with a ki blast, but it was reflected by a new person that had just arrived. It was Goku.
Leave my son alone!
He said this looking coldly at Vegeta.
So, finally you show up. Your merry band of misfits already managed to piss me off. I bet you can do any worse.
Well, from what I'm seeing, they're handling you just fine. You guys okay around here?
Everyone regained hope after seeing Goku, understandably. And Spike was really tempted to use his beam on Vegeta right now because, Goku was here. But then See-Through poked his arm.
Goku will handle it. He wants to check himself out against that thing, he said sagely.
This maniac just killed Piccolo, and I don't know if we should care. I'm pretty sure he said something about blowing up our planet?
Spike was looking a little tense.
I mean,
if it goes out of Goku's control, then you blast him. Easy. All right. Devilman's eyes narrowed. This time, Vegeta was already slightly softened up, so the fight was a little bit more in Goku's favor this time around. He presented some interesting new techniques, particularly something called Kaioken, whatever that was. It was some sort of power-up he could muster that caused the user to glow with a red aura and hit with insane effectiveness. It had been years since Spike saw this boy. No, this man. In his mind, Goku was still that pure-hearted boy who had surprised him and defeated him so long ago. To see him now filled him with some sort of pride that was weird for someone else. He knew that his invisible companion felt similarly. Yeah, interrupting his fight with his own techniques, I wouldn't feel right. It would take the thunder away from him. Let Goku have this one. He surely deserved it. The Devilman would still be able to add some spicy details to his autobiography though. Whatever happened here gave him a lot of inspiration that he desperately needed. But still, when allowed to fight one-on-one, the Prince was a formidable opponent for the Saiyan from Earth. Still, even Spike had to admit that what they just witnessed was one of the most spectacular fights he had ever seen. Finally, the showdown concluded with a climactic beam struggle that seemingly ended Vegeta, although it did drain a lot of Goku's energy. Hey, you did it! Krillin seemed overjoyed. You did it! Saiyan crisis averted! Don't celebrate just yet. He's not gone. The hero of Earth looked toward the sky, and indeed, Vegeta was there, barely alive, but still there, and absolutely fuming at the fact that a low-class wretch and some Earthlings had managed to defeat him. Furiously, the Prince formed a power ball that he shot up in the air in order to prompt his transformation into a giant ape thing. Spike and See-Through were able to see Goku's shock. There was clearly something happening in his head. As their ally had used the solar flare to blind the Colossus, the two of them then thought that he might yet have a chance against the invader. Sadly, whatever Goku had planned to do failed, as Vegeta shot a massive blast from his mouth, scorching his enemy. Then, he caught him in his massive hands and began to crush him like an annoying fly.
All right, I think this is where you come in, Spike! See-Through shrieked at this sight. Could you do something remotely useful instead?
Spike used his wings to get into the air. He wanted to take a good aim.
I will be bested by you! I am Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans, and I have conquered numerous planets and killed many warriors! I shall prevail!
Good! Spike didn't have to increase his negativity. Vegeta was already doing that for him. As he charged up the attack, Vegeta finally acknowledged him again, not really realizing that this annoying little bat had been brought back to full health. So, he stopped crushing Goku in his hands and uttered just 2 words.
Oh, no.
As the purple ray hit him, he dropped his opponent, who was immediately caught by Krillin. Meanwhile, Great Ape Vegeta touched his chest as his eyes bulged out as they tried to escape his own elongated skull. The monster roared in terror and anger, trying to force his body to stay intact, but it failed. Soon blood dripped from its mouth, and a red stain appeared on the left side of his armor. The Great Ape collapsed, creating a slight quake. Vegeta was no more. Luckily, sensu beings were able to heal everyone who had sustained any sort of damage within this fight. Everyone except Piccolo, of course. So, that means... Tien started showing a lot of concern. That we don't have Dragon Balls now, yeah. With Piccolo, Kami's gone as well. Luckily, the group was then visited by Mr. Popo, who explained that there still might be some hope. Everyone was puzzled when the genie told them then the story of the Guardian's ship, which he used to escape his home planet all those years ago. If someone would know anything about Dragon Balls, it could be Kami's people, the Namekians. So the group then realized they had to get to planet Namek, which both Raditz and his other comrades had mentioned in the past, but it only now just clicked. Now, one weird thing that kind of got their attention was that one of those scouter things was now floating in mid-air. See-through? Now you're looting corpses? Asked Spike, a little bit disgusted.
I was just curious how it works, and hey, should that green lamp blink? The invisible guy looked at this device.
We should take it to Bulma. Goku shook his head. And after a quick burial of Piccolo, everyone decided to travel back to Capsule Corp. The Saiyan had to comfort his son, saying that they would find a way to bring his new mentor back, and that he knew that he wasn't such a bad guy after all. When they got in there, they flooded both Bulma and her dad with a lot of information.
So wait, you say that there's a ship that can travel across different worlds? Galaxies even?
Well, it might not fit us all though. At least that was Mr. Popo said, Krillin explained. Also, we have this. See-Through handed over the scouter to Bulma, who immediately put it on and examined it closely.
Hey, I can kind of see it with that See-Through.
There was a moment of silence, then finally Yamcha spoke. Alright, I think it's something that we all want to know. We saw the scouter. Are your clothes invisible, or are you? Everyone immediately looked at their feet. Do you really want to know? See-Through said it with a flat, emotionless tone. You know what? Forget I asked. The bandit then turned away. So, Bulma, said See-Through, that thing on there is blinking. Should it blink? The invisible man finally asked him an important question.
I'm not sure. Check it out, Dad.
She handed it over to Dr. Briefs.
Doesn't it look like it's kind of transmitting?
The old man's forehead frowned as he looked through the device closely.
By the heavens! Yes, it might be. It seems like it's still an open line.
Tenshinhan looked worried and turned his head toward everyone else. So, any idea this is transmitting to?
Probably to the other scouter, which is now inactive, but, well, better not risk it.
Dr. Briefs pressed a button that powered the scouter down.
Meanwhile, tell Mr. Popo that we want to see his ship.
And so the preparation started toward getting to planet Namek. Chi-Chi was of course very opposed to Gohan going into space, especially after being so long apart from her boy, who was, kidnapped by 2 different spacemen. But still, after explaining how much Piccolo meant to him, she agreed. But he had to focus on his education during his journey. Also, Bulma convinced her that space travel can be rather educational, something that was hard to try and convey. Maybe her son could discover something important, and that could kickstart his scientific career at a very early age. That could work. Goku, meanwhile, talked to Spike before the Devilman decided to travel back to Baba's place. He was considering returning, but the Saiyans stopped him and See-Through at the last opportune moment.
Thanks for your help, Spike. Boy, it'd be a pretty tough day if not for your help. That whole thing of yours is kind of scary when you see it actually working.
Hey, it would never have worked on you, but I guess I am useful. I was a little bit careless. This spiky-head freak could have killed me, but ended up downing the 2 of them. That's a good thing. A very good thing for my autobiography.
Auto what?
Goku scratched his head.
Biography that I read. My book is like a journal that you intend to show to other people and sell for tons of money. I had a pretty decent fighting career and traveled this realm for many years. I mean, I'm a literal devil. People are going to love that.
He gave Goku a wicked smile.
Oh, yeah. But going to space may give you even more inspiration, right?
What do you mean? Spike was puzzled by this request.
Well, I mean, we're gathering a crew or crews to go there. Most likely 2 ships. We don't know if these people that Vegeta had been working for heard what we were talking about. So, can't risk sending some strong people out to help. Me, Gohan, Krillin, we could use you out there,
The Saiyan smiled.
Goku, I'm literally an entity from Hifro. Traveling to another planet seems like a downgrade.
He then sighed loudly. Does it? In my opinion, it'll make sense after you fight aliens to take your skills to them, said See-Through, who was obviously eavesdropping on the conversation. Also, people love space flicks these days.
And you think that I could go?
Spike scratched his chin looking at Goku.
Well, I mean, as much as I would prefer to deal with the strong guys myself, you are our emergency option. And we can still train along the way. I can still make you stronger, so nobody could ever pull another fast one like Vegeta did on you.
Train? Oh, I haven't been training with other people since Bandages and See-Through, which, could be useful.
So what do you say, buddy? You gonna come with us?
Goku extended his hand for the Devilman to shake it.
Sure, why not?
He shook his hand. This insane Saiyan had not only managed to defeat him and return from the dead, but now he was inviting him to join him on some kind of space adventure. I mean, how could he say no? So, it was decided. The first group, the scouting mission, was going to be Bulma, Krillin, and Gohan, with Goku, Spike, and See-Through joining along the way them after. Obviously, the Devilman was there for his own selfish reasons, but he also enjoyed the thrill of the adventure. After all, what could possibly happen out there? It's not like he'd just not been able to deal with the planetary threat just now and live to tell the tale. On the flagship of Emperor Frieza, the head scientist Kikono had just finished transcribing the messages coming from the scouters of Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta. Apparently, the 3 have found their match. But there was a silver lining to all of this. Apparently, there was a planet that had some wish-granting orbs on it, and Kikono knew that this was just the kind of prize that his lord would enjoy. Indeed, once he received the intel, Lord Frieza was in a very good mood.
Zarbon, Dodoria, gather some decent troops, and let's move to the exploratory vessel. We have a trip to Namek added to our schedule.
As he laughed softly. He then slowly watched the ship's computer slowly but surely start to find the most fitting flight path to a small backwater world that nobody had heard in many a year, that he had dismissed so long ago. And that concludes our April Fool videos. Shortly after the release of this one, a special community poll, most likely linked here, will appear, while the winner will become a much more fully fledged story. We encourage you to take part in this voting, so that means we can really see who was the best April Fool's subject for this year, 2024, and we thank you for watching. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!